continue, I would like to use this opportunity to let all of you know that Africa is bigger than what they portray. And when I talk about bigger, I don't even talking about potentials or resources. I'm talking about our land size. If you check, everyone can go online and check map of the world. You see how Africa is clustered and made so small and made Canada, America, and Asia so big. It's not true. Yeah, I was with my colleagues and we were actually talking about vacation plans. And one person said he was saving to go to Bali in Indonesia. And I said, why not plan to go to Mauritius? They have beautiful islands that exactly represent what we see in Bali. The beaches are white, they are clean, and you are going to have half the price. Like, you are going to get the same quality, but it's going to be half the price. You don't have to be on an 11-hour flight to go to Accra to Indonesia. Like, that is extreme. We have elephants here in Africa. We have the resorts. We have the most eco-friendly, freshest of air. So when it comes to we also have an engineer who actually landed the engineering award, fanfare award, which is an international engineering award. And usually we know when it comes to engineering, it's quite rare to have people from outside. But Sia Bulela of Suza, he is from South Africa. Huza is the one who actually created a low-cost rocket fuel, and this earned him an engineering award and actually made people surprised that it's actually an African who actually created a low-cost rocket fuel. We've all heard of space.
Goodness and seemingly gomless, in countless situations, will be made to forgo who we truly are. In many instances, we choose to wear long chains and shackles, one that sees no models of Africa, one that sees secular ideas alone, making us seem so regular. But we are the architects of our destinies, not victims of circumstances. We are more than that. We are the masterminds of African story.
As rightly mentioned, my name is Emmaryn. I'm a doctorate student in sustainability development and diplomacy, and my work is mainly based on environment and climate action. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but what I would like to say is that I would like to share a spotlight on the remarkable stories of individuals, communities, and organizations that have triumphed over challenges and harnessed innovation and achieved remarkable success across the continent of Africa. And so at the end of this webinar, I hope that we'll be able to acknowledge resilience, because I think Africa does not, let's change the narrative. Africa does not represent vulnerability, it actually represents resilience. We go through the most harsh conditions ever, but we still stand tall. And we are still very unique people. Through my speech as I go on, we'll be celebrating innovation. And I also have the privilege of showcasing inspiring success stories that exemplify the spirit of African resilience and innovation. I know most of you will be thinking about me mentioning top names in fintech, in fashion, in hospitality, and all of that. But then I want to say that when we talk about success stories and resilience, I would first go out to our audience. I want to say kudos to all of you for joining us this morning. Where I'm coming from is this morning, but wherever you find yourself across the continent, kudos to you, because you are so proud to be African. That is why you have joined us right this moment. I'm pretty sure that if we had sent a link to say that we were going to talk about a Eurocentric matter or having Europeans on the matter, would have exceeded a lot of even our maximum capacity of having the audience over here. But each and every one of you, from the south to the north to west and east Africa, who have joined us over here, you are resilient and you are celebrating your roots as African. And I'm really proud that you are proud to be African and wanting to know more about what our fellow Africans are doing globally. Kudos to Betty and the BISA team, all the staff who believe in her dreams of telling the story of Africa. I wouldn't want to go to the bad side of Africa because we are here to tell the story. This is not about victimization. So I'm not going to talk about what we do that is not good as a people. But then I want to throw one question. I hope that's, I just need one person to just type in a box or something. When you say you want to go on vacation, what is your dream vacation or your vacation? What will come in mind? I'm pretty sure the location is not going to be in Africa. I will just quickly mention a situation that happened at work last year. I was with my colleagues and we were actually talking about vacation plans. And one person said he was saving to go to Bali in Indonesia. And I said, why not plan to go to Mauritius? They have beautiful islands that exactly represent what we see in Bali. The beaches are white, they are clean, and you are going to have half the price. Like you are going to get the same quality, but it's going to be half the price. You don't have to be on an 11-hour flight to go to Accra to Indonesia. Like that is extreme. We have elephants here in Africa. We have the resorts. We have the most eco-friendly, freshest of air. So when it comes to even talking about your dreams, your aspirations, you want to go on vacation. You don't think about Mauritius. You don't even think about Angola. I visited Angola, and because of the negative stereotype, even as African, when I got there, many people thought I was in Europe at that time. But I mean, it's December. It's all snowy over there. The whole place was full of white people. And I tell you that the beaches were so clean, so beautiful. The waters was extremely warm. So, Africa is actually so blessed. We have everything in here, the good and bad. We have the best of the good things in the world. So, as you are listening to us today, I want you to be so proud that um, to be African. I want you to dream that, okay, if you want to have a vacation, I want to go to Mauritius, I want to go to Angola, I want to go to Namibia. You go to, in Namibia, they have wildlife over there. So there are tents and there are, I've forgotten the name of the hotels that you can see the lions from their natural habitat. It's not that you were centric on where they capture them and keep them in cages for you to pay to go and watch them. You have all of that here in Africa. So this is all about the touristic aspect. I started with the touristic aspect because I know that as youth, we have fancy ideas. And when we want to think about very now they call it Delulu. You talk about the Delulu, our vacation and fancy stuff. We always think outside of the African continent, but everything is in here. And the funny thing about it is that we have experts coming into the continent. The things that we as Africans throw away, the Aqua Safari, the Angolan beaches, the Victoria Falls, all of it. You see the white people in there. Today, the reason why the whites haven't left South Africa is because they know what is good. And you could access to that in East Africa, South Africa. You can see that we have a lot of people coming in, and most of them are white people. And so, as a sociologist, I would like to go back to the theoretical aspects and tell you about the history of all of this misconstrued perception about our continent. And I said I wasn't going to talk about victimization, but then I want you to understand the roots just so you could see yourself as a victorious member of this prestigious continent. So, back to sociological theory. It's not just theory, but that's actually the truth. We all know that Africans are stuck in two publics. In sociology, we call it two publics, the private public and the public public. During the colonial times, the colonialists saw how fruitful this continent was, and back then in their place, they have limited resources. So because they have limited resources, it's all about survival of the fittest. And that has actually, you know, developed a particular faculty in their mind where they have to be innovative. So you can even tell, even as individuals, the day you are, I believe we are Africans, you understand what I mean. When you have no money, you have you don't have a lot of food stuff, you're able to think about what you can use as edible. You can mix the rice you have with oil and this. You can cook up something to make it a bit edible. And you ask yourself, you're not even that crazy, but because you have no option, you have to think about what you want and what you need to eat before you survive. Or that even if you have a wardrobe malfunction and you are late, you have to go somewhere. You think twice, oh, I'm going to use my hair ribbon to clip this, or I'm going to tie my shirt to make it look like a fashion style just so you could go ahead and then fix that problem you have right at the very moment. And it is with this mindset that Europeans also have because they have limited resources and harsh weather conditions and an extremely small land size. Let me chip in before I continue. I would like to use this opportunity to let all of you know that Africa is bigger than what they portray. And when I talk about bigger, I don't even talking about potentials or resources. I'm talking about our land size. How it, if you check, everyone can go online and check map of the world. You see how Africa is clustered and made so small and made Canada, America, and Asia so big. It's not true. It's just few people these days, white people these days, are going ahead to teach in their geography class to actually correct this misconstrued perception that Africa is small. Africa is not small. We are the land is very large. And I had this, what I call it a revelation. So some years back when I was in Europe, I realized that the streets were quite small, although I mean, everybody knows Europe is developed. You have to always manage the small parking space. So they don't really fancy big cars here in Ghana. I use an SUV. We don't struggle with parking. So you go in, then you have to be in a small, you have to always, they purchase very small cars. Well, in Ghana here, we call Uber cars, and you have to make use of their land. All of us can attest to the fact that in Europe, there is no land that is unused. Everywhere you go, there are buildings and all of that. So I was thinking to myself, they claim Europe is big and is developed, but then they always park their cars as if, for example, the Ghanaians here will know if you go to Adabraka, you see how our the streets are small and you have to park along the streets. That is where the British settled. So that's like the industrial area, industrial part of Ghana. So you see that the streets are quite small. There are a lot of buildings, a lot of businesses, but we don't have parking space. And you see that all over in Europe. So I was telling myself, if you have utilized every part of your land and you are struggling to even have a common parking space, it means that you don't have a large land size, unlike Africa. Like they claim that we are overpopulated, but we still have large lands that have not even been touched. A lot of forests where they claim that we are sleeping or living in. So that should even tell you that Africa is bigger. The continent is bigger. They just portrayed it very small because they want to make it look like a land of doom, just so they can be the only ones to loot it. So this is their mindset, and they control the media. We all know how the British Royal became popular. It was through media. They um, created the trend of, putting cameras on your private life because they saw that during the World War in Russia, the Tsars and all those people were losing their world powers because they were becoming unpopular in the sight of citizens. We all know what about the Renaissance, the revolution in all the European kingdoms. All the kingdoms were just falling and falling and falling. And then the British royal, the Windsor Castle, the people decided to think if just as the French people went on to pull down their monarchy and fight for democracy, what will happen to us as the British royal people? The British royal people are related by ancestry. They're related to the Germans and the Russians. They are just like royal cousins who go to dominate a particular land and call themselves the king or queen. So they thought to themselves, what do we do to become popular amongst our people so that they don't riot against us? Till date, when we talk about royalty, what comes in mind? It is King Charles, it's Queen Elizabeth. That is what we have in mind because they took one tool, and that tool is media. And all those of us who have been through social studies or government studies, humanitarian studies, we know that the fourth arm of, we have three arms of government in democracy. We have the judiciary, we have the legislature, and we have the executive, that's the presidential board. But there is a fourth arm of government, and that fourth arm of government is the media. So if you have power over media, you have power over everything. And the reason we have misconception about Africa is because a particular people are controlling the media and they will be the ones to tell our story. So if we as Africans do not take advantage of the fourth arm of government, which is the media, we are going to go down south. People continue to think that um, we are living on trees. We are extremely dark skinned. We are dark and we speak gibberish. We don't speak gibberish. We actually have um, high intelligence that we can speak our own language and speak that of the Europeans. It is able to master our language, then they become famous stars all of a sudden. So we should entreat ourselves to tell our stories. And as I said that I was going to go back in history with why as the British took the narrative, the reason is that there is this negative, human beings, people are not always pure at heart. You have people who tell you bad stuff about a particular industry or an adventure. I'm sure I don't know if most of you have gone through friendship betrayal. Somebody will tell you, don't go to this particular place. It's not good at all. It's because they know what is good and they want you to benefit from it. All of us can attest that all the plush places in Africa, and when I mean plush, I'm not talking about Eurocentric buildings. I'm talking about the resorts, the tourist sites. You find the Europeans going in there. They are the ones getting their visitors to come in here. They know that this place is so good. So during the colonial times, they did not end. They did not end. I think I'm having a bad feedback. So they did not end ties completely end ties with Africa. They make sure that when it comes to visa, they get visa on arrival. They make sure that they create a certain mindset. So it's that's a colonial mindset where they trap us to continue to do exports. So like our cash crops still go to them so that they can benefit from it and then still make us fight within ourselves. We are not victims anymore. I want us to know even the best chocolate comes from Africa, it comes from Ghana. So I will go ahead. I wouldn't want to bore you with all the theories but I just want you to understand that if you are going to buy into Eurocentric dreams, just know that you are still at the end of the whip of our colonial masters. Be proud of who you are, be proud of your roots. If instead of you saving to go to Dubai one day, save and go to one of the most beautiful tourist attractions in your homeland or your neighbor's homeland. I see a lot of Ugandans in here. I see Zimbabwe. I see people from Namibia, but Namibia have like very beautiful wildlife. Like you can be from your hotel room and you can still see the lions coming in, to hunt for their prey. They have like very delicious meals, everything. Like when you talk about Africa has everything. If you want to experience Bali, go down south to Mauritius, you could have that. So then I would quickly lists down some creative and innovative people who have put Africa on the map. And then I'll end with a call of action to us all. So I'll start with letting you know that um, we have certain innovative people in fintech, that's financial technology, and we have Strive Masiyiwawa, who is the founder of Econet Wireless Group, and he's the founder of EcoCash. We also have one African regional. So before the COVID, we also have a lot of people in fintech. We have even Samuel Eto, who has back in his hometown, he has constructed um, a whole lot of hoteliers in his country, and he's bringing in a lot of people to come and visit his country.
Recording in progress.
Yes, if you can hear me, that's fine. So we also have an engineer who actually landed the engineering award, fanfare award, which is an international engineering award. And usually we know when it comes to engineering, it's quite rare to have people from outside. But Sia Bulela of Suza, he is from South Africa. Huza is the one who actually created a low-cost rocket fuel, and this earned him an engineering award and actually made people surprised that it's actually an African who actually created a low-cost rocket fuel. We've all heard of SpaceX are still struggling to have some of their rockets go up. It's either it gets ended up in flames, but we have this South African engineer who has put Africa on the map. And also to the east to Ethiopia, we have Tilawun Alemu. He is also the founder of Soul Rebels, that is a sustainable footwear. And we talk about organizations that drive economic growth and development in Africa. The 2.0 Foundation is also owned by an African. And when we come back down to fashion world, we have Oswald Boateng, who was the first indigenous Ghanaian who's been able to open a shop in London. That is the Savoy Road. That's particular train of boutiques is quite rare. You have to be, when it comes to fashion, you're always thinking about Europe and America. But he has been the one who has also opened his branch, and he's been dressing celebrities all over the world. And when we come to academia, we have our own Wole Soyinka, we all know who he is. If you don't know about Wole Soyinka, I would describe him as a Pan-Africanist, but he's an exemplary author, and he's quite well known in the world of literature and storytelling. So I would also like you to know that we have people in Ivory Coast. We have the Akandewa Innovation Hub. They also provide mentorship and training. We have Bright Simmons from Ghana, and Pedigree. He actually innovated a technology which actually is a platform that combats counterfeit drugs. We all know that counterfeit drugs come here in our part of the continent, and he has actually created a mobile phone verification where you can check the authenticity of medications and also improving healthcare. We also have Amina Mama from Nigeria. She's a feminist scholar and an activist. We went back into when we talk about tourism. We are also going to talk about Giselle Mwangi in Kenya. She's the owner of Tribe Hotel Nairobi. And if you are into tourism, you would definitely hear about Tribe Hotel. We have Akwesi Frimpong from Ghana, and he is also is an entrepreneur and a former Olympian, and he has founded the Frimpong Hospitality Group. And so I just want to use this opportunity to let you know that everything that I'm thinking about, even the sanitary pad was invented by a Black woman. And the light bulb that has been said that is being invented by Thomas Edison I am happy to break your bubble that he is not the one who invented it. It was a Black an African man who worked in his laboratory who designed the blueprints. But because we all know what the story is like, we say that it was Thomas Edison. So as we delve into these stories, I would like us to reflect on our roles in supporting African resilience and innovation, whether through investments, whether through mentorship, or as a part to play in nurturing the continent's potential. So let's leave today's webinar with a renewed commitment to celebrating, amplifying, and supporting remarkable stories of resilience and innovation that continue to shape Africa's future. So let's continue. You should join me in the discovery and celebration of African resilience and be proud of your roots. And I hope that at the end of this, I want you to say that you are saving to go to an African country and not to go to Texas or Dubai. Thank you very much, Visa team, for having me.
Walking down memory lane, we saw ourselves as scones of royalty. We had footprints of hope, uniqueness, and happy songs of undiluted culture all over our hearts and mouths. From Egypt's mighty pyramids reaching the sky to Kenya's wildlife where the earth spirit lies. Ghana's kente, a mosaic of pride. Nigeria's heritage from Yoruba folklore to Igbo dances in the moon's glow. From Ethiopia's coffee, rich brewed from ancient ground, to South Africa's Mandela, where hope and peace were found. Morocco's bustling market, a century embrace to Senegal's Terenga, hospitality's grace. From Tanzania's Kilimanjaro, a lighthouse so tall and ground, Uganda's gorillas, guardians of the land. Just see these countries, 10 in number, each with a tale to tell. We were so certain about our legacy, so we were distracted by the awful systems of oppressions that try to rewrite our stories. For many decades, we've been a prey to deception, believing lies painted in black and white and still claiming to call some glowing colors. For many years, we've been made to believe that black is inferior, uncivilized, foodless, and seemingly gumless. In countless situations, we've been made to forego who we truly are. In many instances, we choose to wear long chains and shackles, one that sees no models of Africa, one that sees secular ideas alone, making us seem so regular. But we are the architects of our destinies, not victims of circumstances. We are more than that. We are the masterminds of African story and poised to have it all intact. It's about time to recreate our original design, to see the vision of the old and how they held onto the forest untold. As architects, we must construct a new vision, one that will lay the foundation of ancestral wisdom, one that will raise the pillars of pride so the world can't miss them. So let's work together then. Let's raise brilliant talents that will cement African vision and keep our roots grounded. Oh, gifted designers, would you like to see your building shattered? Be an architect of the African story. This is your site. Do not accept what they said is right. Raise new structures, sustainable and strong, where Mama Africa will stay forever. Thank you so much.
I hope you are inspired because we are. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to all our social media channels. It's displayed on the screen, and don't forget to press that notification bell to receive updates when they come by. It's Visa.